excellent to each other, and party on. We're back with another Legacy League where we are hoping to win through Phyrexian Dreadnought paired with the age-old combo of Stifle. Phyrexian Dreadnought is a 12/12 trample creature that only costs 1 mana, and if you can stifle its ETB trigger, then it stays in play without having to sacrifice itself. So the idea with StifleNought, as the deck is often called, is to get Phyrexian Dreadnought into play and stifle the trigger, or to use Dress Down to essentially turn off its ability so it comes into play as a 12/12, and then when Dress Down goes away, it gets the trample ability back and it's just ready to attack the following turn. Most Phyrexian Dreadnought decks these days play white. We are instead opting to play black. Psychic Frog is such a powerful creature, and it's a great way to pitch unnecessary redundant copies of Phyrexian Dreadnought or Stifle or Dress Down. So it essentially makes our combo deck, our combo tempo deck, have a more mid-rangey plan. Rounding out the deck, of course, we have Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student. I'm playing all 4 of these. This card is great if you can stifle your opponent's initial plays, if you can waste them off their initial lands, and just buy yourself some time to tick her up toward her ultimate ability where you draw half of your deck. We have plenty of removal in 4 Fatal Pushes and 2 Brazen Borrowers, which can often bounce a creature back to hand or any problematic permanent until after the game is over. And the name of the game is not to win a long game, it's to close the game before you have to play a long game. So if we're up against a control deck, if we're up against a combo deck that we can kind of stop the initial volley, we'll be in a very good position to close the game quickly. In the event that we are against a control deck, I have 4 Orcish Bowmasters in the sideboard. This card is still very good. It's not that great against a lot of the meta, but against control decks, it's great. And we can, if they're playing exile, white base removal, where they exile your creature, if they're playing Prismatic Ending, for example, this is definitely coming out, and we're bringing in the Orcish Bowmasters, which is a lot more resilient to white removal. We're also playing 2 Harbinger of the Seas, which can really mess with the mana base of these 4-color control type decks, and it can even shut Eldrazi out of the game. Eldrazi is another deck that we have a lot of respect for in 3 Consigned to Memories. It's worth noting that these Consigned to Memories can also stop the Phyrexian Dreadnought trigger, so they kind of act like Stifle's 9 through 11. This Dress Down card is pretty good on its own. It's not a bad effect for 2 mana. You get a replacement card after you cast it, and it can kill all opposing constructs that were created by Urza Saga. It can also stop enter the battlefield triggers. So if your opponent, for example, casts a Uro, for some reason you want to stop Uro, or and then you can just Fatal Push it, and they will be down a card as a result. You can also stop common effects like Baleful Strix. They have Baleful Strix, and you can flash this in and deny them the card draw. This works with Samwise. This works against a lot of other ETB trigger cards, like let's say they're solituding your Phyrexian Dreadnought. You could potentially flash in Dress Down and stop the trigger, and they still get the solitude creature, but they don't get to exile your creature, so you can still attack it and kill them. I think these games are going to be really interesting because they're very compressed. There's going to be a tension between deploying threats and keeping up mana for Stifle. The mana base here is very conservative, really as conservative as an 18-land deck that has 4 wastelands can be. Essentially, we're just playing 3 duels. We're playing a swamp. We're playing 2 islands so that we can play off of basics completely. If our opponent has an early wasteland, if we're playing against Delver or something like that, and we can really just have one-sided tempo plan because they are going to be having to fetch duels that we're going to be able to waste. So I think that's going to, with 2 islands and with the swamp, we're able to hard cast Brazen Borrower. We should have plenty of mana to do everything we need to do. So I'm really excited about this league. I did a league earlier, which is already up on my channel, and I think that you're going to really enjoy this and hopefully learn a little bit alongside me about playing a pure tempo deck like this that is really trying to just wreck your opponent's early plays and close the game quickly before they can really win with traditional means. We definitely want to get under the Nadu decks, want to get under the Beanstalk decks, and I think this is a great option for doing that. So as always, 5 rounds with commentary. We'll be right back for round 1. We're back for round 1 against G Castro. They have most recently been playing this Jeskai control list, which is pretty much a nightmare matchup for us in that they have Supreme Verdict, they have 4 Swords of Plowshares, they have 4 Prismatic Endings. I will be very impressed if we can sneak through here and actually connect and actually do anything. But I think this hand is a keep. It's more passive, but we do have Ponder. It's worth noting that in this deck, we don't actually have the Surveil land because we're only playing 18 land, and the idea is that we play quickly and kill them quickly. We could mulligan, but then we might be in a situation where we don't have a land. But then again, they're not going after our land. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan. Okay, and this is better. We have a Tamiyo. I think what we do is we just open Tamiyo Days, and I'm going to put back the push because I think it's less likely to be good here. Yeah. All right, and they do have a single Blood Moon in the deck, but I'm not worried about that. Again, I'm more worried about like all this other stuff. The only red card in their entire deck, it looks like, is 4th Aerolingus, which they have 2, and then the Blood Moon. They have a ton of basics, so I don't think we're going to be able to waste very much here. We might be able to stifle. So I'm going to go ahead and just play this, and maybe that'll get them to prioritize holding on to the Blood Moon. We'll play this, and we probably will defend this with a force. Brazen Borrower is not going to be that great, but if we can get this and flip it, I mean, they can still exile it with Prismatic Ending. Yeah, it's kind of scary. I think the best course of action is just to leave her in play, connecting, and creating these clue tokens so we can potentially outdraw our opponent, but it's going to be very hard with the 8 spot removal spells in their deck. Yeah, this is the nightmare matchup. Make no mistake, this is the worst possible matchup for us, in my humble opinion. They may be waiting to exile her until they have Daze Protection mana up. They may be considering going ahead and plowing there. They thought for a while. All right. So this is our window where we can, I think we go ahead and play this out. I'm going to get an island here. I just don't want to get caught by Blood Moon later. There's no real need for having the second black. I'm going to ponder first, and then if we find another, I don't think any of these do anything. I'm going to shuffle this. This is actually a really easy shuffle because none of those cards are going to be particularly powerful. We don't have enough mana to crack a clue. I think we just pass, and we're probably going to be forcing removal on this. The other option we have is if they remove Tamiyo, we could potentially try to get a Dreadnought through, but I have 0 confidence that a Dreadnought's going to be removed. And the thing I'm worried about is not that it gets removed, but it gets removed with negative value. So if I can find a Dress Down, then I will still play out a Dreadnought, but I'm not going to play out a Dreadnought off of a Stifle because that's going to very easily walk us into a 1 for 2. Right? So we did get our clue, so she has kind of replaced herself. But our opponent's on the draw. They've got 8 cards. Ponder's fine. Again, we're all this is just to stop removal here. I don't think Brazen Borrower flashed in. They probably won't give us anything to bounce. There are almost no permanents in their entire deck. Other than Tamiyo, which we could bounce her. 2 Teferis, 4 Narsets. Yeah, this is going to be a slog. All right. But I'm going to try to stay excited. I think subsequent matches will be maybe more interesting and more favorable for us. Okay, so we'll see if they try to go for the removal here. I think I am going to go ahead and attack here. And we'll see if they see if we get daze on the okay, they didn't daze. I think now I am going to play out the Wasteland and just waste this land. There's no reason to do it now. I will do it during their upkeep because I'm going to be disciplined today. Last last video, there were several opportunities where I could have done it during their upkeep, and I didn't. The main disadvantage here is now if they decide to plow, we are going to need a force instead of days. Because they are doing blue here. That's fine. I'd much rather see blue mana in the pool than white. Okay. Right there, passing with one land. Oh my goodness, they're discarding. This is so good for us. If they don't find another white source, oh, they just conceded. Holy cow. All right. So, okay. So, as I established here against white decks, I think we just board out the Dreadnoughts. If they are indeed on this deck, it also makes sense to board in Force Negation. And we could board these out. I think Harbinger's fine. They're not going to be disrupting our mana. We may be able to disrupt their mana. They may not expect it. They're probably going to be inclined to fetch basics. But with Harbinger, the Sea Out, do they run any mountains? They do run a mountain that they could potentially fetch. Might be able to screw up their fetches. And then maybe we keep like one of these in. Yeah, I think I'll do one, and then I'll keep two Dreadnoughts in. That's as far out there as I'm willing to go. In terms of red spells, actually, they got Ruination, they've got Blood Moon, they've got Double Pyroblast, and they Meltdown. They might even board in Meltdown, but they don't know we're on Dreadnought, so they have no reason to do that. I think they probably thought we were on a standard black tempo deck. So, yeah, I think I'm going to take out the Harbinger or the Dreadnoughts. I don't think they're going to be good here. Dress Down is pretty bad, but it might bait them into thinking that we have something. So we can basically play as though we do have these in, but we're not going to actually have these in. All right, game 2. So this is a great land light hand. We do have Harbinger. What I think we do is we open Tamiyo and we see what they want to do about that. Force the action. Okay. I would love to draw a Stifle here. That's not a bad card by any means. If we wait a turn, we can protect Tamiyo. Not really. We can't protect her. We don't have Brainstorm. I'm just going to go get my land and I'm going to deploy Tamiyo. Next turn, if Tamiyo is no longer in play, I will just ponder. And the next land I get is going to be a basic island. I'm going to be disciplined. If they wait to their turn to remove it because they have Prismatic Ending, I do have Force Negation that I could cast. I do have Dress Downs. Pitching a Dress Down may actually spook them as to making them think that we're on. They may be forcing this. What are they doing? Oh, they're forcing it. That's good for us. Okay, so we just got a 1 blue mana Hymn to Torok. They revealed Tune the Narrative, which is an energy card. So they may be playing energy cards. They did not have that in this list from a few days ago. Today is the 23rd, so this is 3 days ago. They went 5-0 with a similar list. But I imagine they're still playing Jeskai. That's fine. They're brainstorming. I assume that they have like a fetch, or they're looking for a fetch. Okay, they found a fetch. All right. So I think we ponder and we try to find land number 2 here. We try to tick up toward Harbinger. Psychic Frog is good, but we can't cast it. I'm inclined to shuffle this and maybe find a land. Okay, there we go. And we'll have another Tamiyo as well. Now, I don't expect them to be playing Days, so we have plenty of counter magic here that we can deploy. Next turn, if I don't draw a land, I'm just going to wait till end step, and then I'm going to deploy a Dress Down, see if I can spook them. Brazen Borrower is definitely a card that would have come out against their deck if we had better targets for it, or like better substitutions. But it is something that can attack into a Planeswalker, so it's not the worst. That's fine. Double Island. We know they're playing white because we saw white mana last turn, but they may not be playing the third color. Okay, playing that tapped is fine. So right now, our Harbinger does literally nothing. It might be useful for keeping them off certain things. Okay, so the option we have, of course, is to brainstorm to try to find something here. Or the end step Dress Down, which, considering how slow they're playing, I'm not opposed to playing the end step Dress Down. And then we have the option of potentially borrowing I don't know what they would play here. Yeah, I mean, we could potentially borrow a... if they play Blood Moon, they could lock us off red. We could borrow that back to hand for tempo. We've got 7 cards. I think we wait. This is a hard call because I do want to brainstorm and get forward momentum. Let's say hypothetically we brainstorm and we do find... let's say we do find a fetch. Then we can get rid of these dress downs. Okay, this isn't exactly what we're looking for. This is a land that can give us Bowmasters next turn. So what I think we're going to put back is... Harbinger's probably not going to play a role here. Let's just get rid of dress downs. We're going to redraw them anyway. I'm going to... I'll just put back Psychic Frog, so heaven forbid they have a way to look at our hand. They won't be able to see it. Okay, and I'll just pass. So we now have Bowmasters up with double force protection, which... I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to Bowmaster you. I know that you have lots of other things you can do, but I will force to protect this, and I will also force negation to protect this. They are 2 mana away from being able to cast Supreme Verdict, which is a very strong card that they could have. I think we just go all in on this. All right, they're not fetching. So far, things are going pretty well. I think we attack here, and we see what they do. We don't have hard cast Force Negation up because of our current mana base. They may not be fetching Tundra because they're scared. Okay. So this is where the Plains comes out, and I suspect a Plow's coming. Snapcaster Mage is fine. Wait a second. Is it fine? We could dress this down, and then it just trades with Bowmaster, but then that gives them... No, they wouldn't have anything to target in the graveyard. Okay, the other... Let's think about this. I think just forcing this is totally fine. They're down to 3 cards. I'm going to force it. Because I don't want them to be able to trade with the Orcish Bowmaster. So I will pitch Harbinger. Knowing that they're playing Snapcaster, it is possible that we want to do something else here. Like, let's say they resolve it. We could bounce it back to hand. The main thing is we just have to prevent our Orcish Bowmaster from dying here. If they untap and they jam a second white card, I'm going to be really sad that I played Psychic Frog. So I think we chill and we end step Dress Down maybe. Or we just dress down in their in second main. So we don't have Dress Down. Because if we Dress Down, I'm thinking likely we're just going to pitch Dress Down to force negation here. But they definitely could go get Tundra and then Supreme Verdict here. And there would be nothing we could do about that. So our top card is... What is our top card? I'm trying to remember. It's another Dress Down, right? Yeah, I think I'm just going to draw it. And if they Snapcaster again, I will Dress Down here. Let's see what they do. They're just taking it. Okay, that's great. So I still don't think we play out Psychic Frog. My reasoning is they're 1 card away from Supreme Verdicting, which we can't stop. If they remove the Bowmasters, then I'll deploy the Frog. And this might be me being a control player. That is okay. You can give me 4 Orcish Bowmasters triggers. I don't mind. That is what I like to call a total desperation play right there. Like, I don't know what else they had in their hand, but it's hard for me to imagine them having... Like, I can't see how you wouldn't just wait there. Maybe my opponent's relatively inexperienced, but yeah, that didn't seem like a strong play. Okay, so now we've got Force and Negation to defend probably the army, because the army represents lethal. Terminus, we don't have a Stifle. Because they're going to attempt a Miracle. We're going to Force and Negation it, pitching one of our Dress Downs. They'll probably force back. Okay, they're not forcing back, but they must have some way to remove this. They may be able to Supreme Verdict. I think I'm going to send it end second main. And then when they pass out of their second main phase, I can Brazen Borrower, or I can Dress Down. And I don't believe they can do anything from there for their end step. I could be wrong. Oh no, I passed. I think it's fine to go ahead and Dress Down. No, maybe we wait. because maybe they're counting on doing something with Snapcaster here. They're going down to 3. Okay, they're getting a Tundra. This doesn't solve the underlying problem of Bowmasters hitting them, but they could definitely, if they have a second Mystic Sanctuary, they were not playing a second Mystic Sanctuary here. In fact, they weren't even playing one Mystic Sanctuary. I think it's unlikely they're playing a second Mystic Sanctuary. If I dress down and I find Force, I think that's fine. It'll give them a turn to unload cantrips. What if they have another Brain Surge? I think I let this happen. Okay, now we're going to see what I draw. Second Frog. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attack, and I'll be ready to dress down if they Snapcaster. Okay, they didn't Snapcaster, they're just taking 1. Now I'm going to waste this for sure, just to reduce their options a little bit. And I am going to deploy another Psychic Frog, knowing that I've got a backup one. So we're really naked to Supreme Verdict if they want to go get a second Tundra. But we're doing our best to put lethal pressure on the table. If we draw another island, we will have the option to Brazen Borrower here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I kind of knew that was a risk we're facing. So they have a lot of bad draws, and they're down to 1 life. If they fetch here, I don't know that they have any life gain in their entire deck. Okay, they're going to 1. Even if they like 4th Aerolingus here, when they get the Monarchy. Okay, so they are able to put this back on top, which sucks. Yeah, that's fine. So this is like the multiple Sanctuary deck. I don't even think they're playing red. So if there's a game 3, I'm going to take out the Hydroblast that I boarded in. Okay, that's fine. They've got 1 card left. It doesn't seem to be a cantrip, or they probably would have used it there. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and deploy this and see if they can deal with it. If they can deal with it, we'll keep playing. But they are at 1. They can't fetch. They can't force. All right, they have conceded. Good games. Yeah, I think brain surging there was a mistake, but I don't know what their hand was. But I definitely think, like, I'm very careful about even casting a Ponder into Orchestra Master, because you're kind of like doubling their clock, and you're also taking damage immediately. So you're essentially doing 3 damage to yourself over the next turn cycle, and then an additional damage every turn after that if you Ponder. And so brain surging, you'd better be able to find something that can clear the board. Now, to their credit, they did have lots of options, but we just ran them out of options by overwhelming their removal. All right, so we're 1-0. Let's go into match 2. We've been paired. All right. R2 Redkis. I believe I've played against this person before. Let's see what they're on. All right, most recently seen on StifleNought, which is actually good because we can use their own Doorkeeper Thralls against them. They are on the bigger build with Null Drifter. They are playing 18 lands. Yeah, let's hope they're still on this. They're playing a main deck Consigned to Memory instead of one of the Stifles, which is a cool, tech. But I still think Stifle's a much better card, certainly for main deck. This has the combo, has double Tamiyo. I think we keep this. And what my plan is to just pressure the heck out of them. Brazen Borrower is a nice answer to a resolved Dreadnought. All right. They don't know what we're on, and we might be able to get them with a Stifle. I think I'm going to wait a turn. They may go get like a... All right. So unfortunately now, if I Stifle one of their fetches, they can just go get an island, and they can daze me. I still think this is worth doing. And you may think, like, why are you throwing away the combo? But they play 4 Swords to Plowshares. They're likely going to be able to deal with our Dreadnoughts, and I don't want to invest 2 cards in a Dreadnought. I want to be able to get this out. Okay, so they are stifling here. That's unfortunate. Isn't 1-for-1, and we get a little bit of tempo, but still, like, I definitely would have liked to have resolved that Stifle. So it's heads up for them to wait to crack it until they had a second land. They did get a basic island here, which makes me think that are interesting. They're brainstorming on top of the Delta. No way I can punish this. They are going to be able to get a perfect brainstorm here. So this is play draw dynamics. It would be completely different, I think, if I were on the play, because I would have days. But of course, I'm on the play half the time, so I'm not like whining or anything. I don't want you to think that, but I just wanted to point that out. Like in these tempo mirrors, play draw dynamics play a big part. All right, so we do have the ability to play Tamiyo with Daze Protection. They did get this Tundra as their second land. Options include Pondering to see if we can get a Brainstorm to protect our Tamiyo. But we have a second Tamiyo. I'm kind of thinking like we go ahead and we play this out. I'm going to play out Tamiyo. And then I can Ponder. Our opponent has 6 cards in hand. They may have put back a land. I don't think they would have. I'm going to attempt to Ponder here, though. It doesn't cost us anything. We don't have any counter magic in our hand anyway. Fatal Push is going to be good in this matchup. We can stop a Dreadnought. We can stop a Doorkeeper Thrall. They do have a Murktide as well, but I think this might... Well, no, I'm not going to put it back because it has a land number 3 as well, which I think will be good, especially if we're able to create some clues. So I'll take this land and I'll just pass. And there's a good chance they'll remove Tamiyo, but that's a removal spell they won't have for a later Dreadnought or a Psychic Frog. Main thing is we want to respect the fact that they have days in their deck. They probably still have 3 days left. That's fine. They don't have any way to recur. In fact, they don't have a value engine in their deck at all. And we have 8. Right? Like so actually running them out of cards is legit strategy. They do have a Lorien Revealed, but that's like really the only way they have to draw cards. Well, Null Drifter, I guess, is technically a value engine. We just have to see to it that they don't make it that far. Okay, so we have Fatal Push on top. We could Psychic Frog around Daze. If we're going to do that, we need to fetch first. I'm going to go get a Swamp. See if they Stifle. If they Stifle, I'll just deploy a Tamiyo. Okay, they Stifle. That's fine. I'm going to deploy a Tamiyo. And since we don't have any counter magic, I'm just going to continue to deploy cantrips here. And if they Daze, that's not a big deal. Daze is live basically the entire match here because we're both playing on lots of, like a low land count. We're stifling each other. We're wasting each other. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use this now. I don't think we need this. Yeah, because Borrower will take care of Dreadnought. I'm happy I shuffled that because if Tamiyo survives a turn, I can flip her next turn, and there's nothing in their deck that can remove her. They're not playing. Yeah, this is what's happening. Okay. Do they have another removal spell for Tamiyo? They don't. Not yet, anyway. They're not using it yet. Okay, well, let's draw. Okay, I'm going to start by attacking here, and then I will Brainstorm to protect her. Okay. I'm going to attempt to Brainstorm here. They're not playing Orcish Bowmasters, as far as I can tell. This should flip Tamiyo if they don't remove her. If they plow her, it's not the end of the world. I just need to keep forward momentum going. All right, this is a lot of lands. I think we put 1 land back, and I think we probably put the Dreadnought back. We don't have any enablers. I don't want to keep it just on speculation that they may play something that we can use on it. Okay, so we have our Tamiyo. I'm going to plus her, and I'm going to deploy this land, which can go get a Swamp, and then I'll pass. And it's definitely possible that they stifle me again and try to keep me low resource, but the less they do, the better. And keeping this up is good because it forces them to keep mana available. Okay, this is Null Drifter. It is, card positive, but they're not going to be able to stifle or anything. They do have to sack it. They have 4 of those. I kind of established last time that I don't think Null Drifter is like super strong right now. So I don't want to draw a land. I'm going to go ahead and fetch now. I'm just going to go get, I think I get a Swamp. And then we'll draw a random card. What do we draw? A Stifle. Not terrible. Then I'm going to go ahead and plus here. Keep in mind that they can just, stifle the ultimate when we do it. I can go fetch another basic around Stifle. This is one thing that they probably don't have. They probably don't have this many basics in their deck. And then we can play out a frog. And now we're pressuring them in two ways. And we are potentially stifling. I'm not sure what we stifle here. Like I am kind of scared now that they're able to dress down into Phyrexian Dreadnought, but we do have Brazen Borrower. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like our deck is much more of a value deck, and I think we have a lot more. Even though their game is really good with Null Drifter, yeah, there's a land. I'm thinking about this. I don't think it's terrible to just stifle this to keep them low resource, considering we're about to go off. This might bait some sort of counter magic. Even a daze is probably okay here. All right, and if we find a wasteland, we can waste them off of white. But the main thing I was worried about is what if they Null Drifter and then stifle the Null Drifter? That's fine. We have a Brazen Borrower. That's fine. They could have replicated it to make sure that I didn't counter it. All right, what do we get? We get a second Borrower. This is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and attempt a Borrower before I decide what to do with my Tamiyo. Do they have a Force? They do have a Force. That is okay. So options. One, we go get we can go get a Ponder. We're not doing anything this turn. Tamiyo is not long for this world. I think it's extremely unlikely my opponent doesn't go after Tamiyo here. I think the best option right now is I'm going to jump the frog and I'm going to attack. There's no benefit to holding back since they have trample. 1, 2, 3. All right, and we'll see whether their last card is Plow. What did they exile there? They exiled another Stifle. Yeah, I'll just go to combat. I'm going to attack. And we'll get a card here. No point in doing extra damage. The way we win is not by like tempoing them out with damage. It's by just getting a whole lot more cards than they have. Do they have a Plow? They're not plowing. Okay, that's good. I'm not discarding. Okay, Wasteland. So one option is certainly to go ahead and Wasteland them. The other option is more risky, but that is to Brazen Borrower again, and that way we keep Tamiyo alive. I think I like that because they probably wouldn't have kept. Okay, it worked. Okay, now we're gonna plus this, and I feel very firmly in the driver's seat. Okay, yeah, I'm glad we found that land. Next turn, we'll definitely waste their Tundra if they don't waste us first. Okay, they have a second Wasteland. I can't imagine they don't waste us here. That's fine. I don't even care about that. I'm about to draw half my deck. You're going to have to find, if you find a Stifle, you can use it there, but we're going to draw so many cards. Okay, good. We won. All right, that was just patient play. Having the double Brazen Borrower in deck is good. The list I was playing previously didn't have double Brazen Borrower. It just had one. And yeah, I like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this matchup, I'm not going to rely on us being able to resolve these. Maybe I should. So let's talk about what doesn't matter here. I don't think Harbinger matters. Force, no. I think the only thing that we could argue is like Murderous Cut is like a good to have, a nice to have. Okay, so if we bring in Murderous Cut in these cards, what cards will we take out? Well, Dress Down. I mean, assuming we're still going to try to win with Dreadnought. Actually, I don't think winning with Dreadnought is the right call here because we have Orcish Bowmasters, we have card quality. The longer the game goes, the more we're favored. I think what we could do is we could probably take out one of the Dress Downs and all of our Dreadnoughts. And I apologize to those of you who are like, why are you taking out the Dreadnoughts? The Dreadnoughts the entire point. Like, I just don't think it's right in these Swords to Plowshares matchups, and we've had 2 Swords to Plowshares matchups in a row, but don't worry, when we're playing against Eldrazi, when we're playing against, like blue-black tempo mirrors and stuff like that, we are going to keep them in. It's just that I don't think it's particularly strong here because they're likely to bring in some number of, did we show them in the Dreadnought? They may not realize we're on Dreadnought. I mean, we could keep some of these in and we could just take out our Dress Downs. They don't have any ETB triggers that are good. So if we take these out, we might be able to use one of their triggers against them. Like, we might be able to, let's say hypothetically they play the gatekeeper thrall, a doorkeeper thrall. Then we could play out a dreadnought that way. It seems pretty weak. I think I'll keep 2, and maybe I'll bring in, I think I'll bring one of these back in just to, like, as a way to actually play dreadnought profitably ourselves. I don't know, but Dress Down actually makes me feel really bad with like Bowmasters, because like last game we were in situations where we didn't want to do that. Harbinger could lock them off white, which is pretty good. I'm not sure about Harbinger. I don't really know what else we board in. I think actually we'll keep this Dreadnought, and we'll just hope that they somehow enable us through one of the things they do. But really, we've just got the 4 Stifles to put it out. Yeah, I'm not sure about that decision. I think I probably should have gone down to 2. Okay, here's our Dreadnought. I mean, this hand has installation against their tempo plan. It does have a Dreadnought if we find a Stifle, or if they play a Doorkeeper Thrall, which they're playing like 3 of them. So it is totally possible that they play out Doorkeeper Thrall. The downside of this hand is Dreadnought is really dead early on. I think I'm going to mulligan this. This is a more proactive hand with Tamiyo and Psychic Frog. Okay, I think I keep this and I take out Daze is good to protect Tamiyo. We want to keep that Stifle for our own or the Wasteland for our own Daze protection. I think I'd do this, and we're gonna like settle into a Tamiyo into Frog type approach, and we might even wait a turn to deploy Tamiyo. Well, that would require us drawing a land. We'll see if we draw a land, but I'm definitely gonna play on basics here. So Frog is gonna be a while before it arrives. I think you pretty much have to play on basics in this matchup just because their tempo package is so brutal between the Wastelands and the Dazes and the Stifles. And this is definitely a reason to not play on basics. If they just untap and plow our Tamiyo, we're pretty far behind. But we do need to fetch. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put Tamiyo on the table. And it's possible they kept a more proactive hand. And if they kept like okay, they didn't counter that, but they can still plow it. If they did keep a more proactive like Dreadnought into Stifle hand, then we can Daze. But I don't think they'll go for that because that's like a total blowout to just a Daze. Okay, so here, that's fine. This is good because we're not getting Dreadnoughted now. And if they do try to plow Tamiyo, we can Daze it. We don't have anything else to do next turn anyway. If they get a Tundra for some reason, I probably will waste it. I would love nothing more than for them to go get a Tundra, plow, I Daze, and next turn I drop a Wasteland and waste them. We're just kind of trying to buy time until we can get access to a basic swamp here. It's fine. Fetching around, Stifle. There's the Tundra. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to play this out just so I have mana in case I need to do something. Then I'm going to go to combat. Okay, that worked. So we need to be careful about wastelanding here because, so I waste, they plow, I Daze, they can Daze back and put the Tundra in, and they can get rid of my, they can basically get a free roll on my waste. So yeah, it's dangerous to do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold and see what they do in step. I'm going to, if they tap in step, I'll be very happy, but I don't think they're likely to do that. I do have Brainstorm with Daze Protection if they plow, and I'll do that. This is like super duper computationally intensive though. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to need to take some aspirin after this. I might as well. Yeah, I didn't waste there. I just decided not to waste. I'm just not getting the vibe that I should waste here. And now I'm really not getting the vibe. I would really rather use this mana myself. I'm not going to use any of the mana now. I'm just going to be slow and disciplined. This is a great installation for later. I'm going to go ahead and declare attack here and see what they do. We've got double Daze lined up. I'm not going to brainstorm. I'm just going to chill. We're accruing advantage here with each attack of Tamiyo. Scariest thing they could do here would be ETB Dress Down. Doorkeeper Thrall. Flash, fly. Okay, let's think about this. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to waste here. And then if they may float days. Stifle. Okay, that is countered. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and blue days. No, what I need to do, I need to waste this first. This is getting sketchy. All right, and now I'm going to boom. And now that they're tapped out, I do think it's correct to go ahead and flipper. All right, force is a good pickup. We didn't find the land that we needed. I'm going to put back this. And this, I guess I'll draw it. Unless they surgical. That would be really bad, actually, if they surgical and like we don't have a land in our hand. I don't think they'll be playing surgical here. I'll be amazed if they are. Okay, so now they can't play the Dreadnought. If they try to stifle Dreadnought into play, I will definitely attempt to force. That's fine. So they are going to be able to get a perfect brainstorm here and get rid of bad cards. I wouldn't be surprised if Daze is like they're trying to like load up on Dazes, given the circumstances. I think that brainstorm at the end was probably greedy on my part. I think it's fine. I don't really care about her. She does shut off Force of Will, but yeah, like she's going to be attacking for 1 and this is going to be going up each turn. Right, so I'm just going to play this out and I'm going to uptick her, and I think I just pass here. I mean, we are kind of in a tenuous spot, but the moment we find a basic swamp, which we can brainstorm for next turn, we'll be doing okay. All right, attack for 1 coming in on Tamiyo. That's fine. They have so much mana. I do feel like it was a mistake to go after the mana so aggressively because now I can't use my clues. All right, so I'm going to attempt to brainstorm here. There's definitely a chance they daze. That's not the end of the world. But I do need to find land here. That is pretty catastrophic. I'm just going to scoop. I don't think that we're going to be able to come back from that. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop. It's good to know that they're playing Hull Breacher. Okay, so now we get to play on Beyond the Play. Yeah, that Hull Breacher was absolutely crushing. I can't counter it because of Lavinia. Yeah, and I didn't have black up to like attempt to force. Okay, so based on what we know about their deck, I really don't want these Dreadnoughts in here. I just don't feel like it doesn't feel right. Consign to memory. This is probably an issue with me designing the deck that we don't have a good replacement for Dreadnought. I think now Spellbound does literally nothing against them. Harbinger of the Seas is just not going to be very good. It's likely going to get dazed anyway. Surgical, almost never worth boarding in. You'll see people getting all excited because they got some surgical and they got like 2 cards out of their opponent's hand, but that's just like lucky outliers that people remember. They don't remember all the times they surgicaled and it had no impact on the game. I think we probably have to put 2. I'm going to put 2 of these in. I'm going to put a dress down. Just kind of like spread it a little bit. We do still have ways to get Phyrexian Dreadnought out. I mean, had I not countered, if I'd had a Dreadnought, I probably would have let them resolve their Dreadnought off of the Doorkeeper Thrall and then resolve my own. I didn't have one. Okay, let's try that. I like having Murderous Cut. I like the Bowmasters. Those are definitely going to be powerful here. I think the main thing was just wasting them is a mistake. I'm going to go ahead and... I mean, this is an Island Ponder hand. We get an island. We ponder. We get an island. We play Tamiyo. They get rid of it. I ponder. I think that's okay. I'm going to keep this. Because we have the luxury of being on the play. And, yeah, we can put them to the test with an island. And I love this double Bowmaster's hand, though. I think that's going to be really good. And I like the days, too. This Dreadnought is kind of dead this early in the game. Again, I would be very loath to attempt to deploy it. Yeah, I play against StifleNought. I'd say like maybe it's like 2 or 3% of the meta. I would probably... I'm trying to think of what I'd do to my sideboard to be better against this matchup because I really don't think Dreadnought and the Dreadnought is good. And but they I don't think they've sided theirs out. They may just not have things that are worth siding out. I will definitely daze this if they plow. Yep. They did it off a basic too. I just want to keep this around for a turn. They may be baiting me here, but like I've got no other land. I'm totally happy to get the land back. And I'm going to go to combat. And then I think I will ponder here while they can't stop it, just to set up my next few draws. Yeah, this is definitely a shuffle. The Dress Down does help us get Dreadnought out, but that's not what we're looking to do. This is like basically the best draw in our deck. Now we have Orcish Bowmasters off of basics. It's going to be very powerful. They probably have Daze in hand. There's like a 43% chance that they have Daze in their hand. 40% because they've drawn like 2 cards after that. Play this out. I'm going to attack. I will Bowmasters into Daze here because I don't know how soon I'm going to draw another land. The other alternative, of course, is to go ahead and jam Psychic Frog. I think Psychic Frog has more upside value if it stays in play. I think what we do is we just pass, and then we have the ability to draw a card if they don't play anything out. But they should be reading this as Bowmaster's mana. I'm going to go ahead and do this now, just because I'm not going to get a trigger and I'm not going to amass if this doesn't resolve. Okay. So, yeah, that's not going to... they are going to be able to get a Dreadnought here, but I'm going to be able to play my own Dreadnought. They may not even know that we're on Dreadnought because like nobody plays blue-black Dreadnought. It's probably like it's 0.1, 0.2% of the meta probably. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. They're just attacking. They're just passing. Okay. Well, that's a good draw. Let's see. We attack. I think we do attack with Tamiyo. So I'm gonna play my land. I'm gonna attack with Tamiyo. I'm going to hopefully draw like a plow or something, which I don't even care about at this point because Tamiyo's done so many. She's gotten so many clues out there for me already. And then if they do that, then I can stick my Dreadnought, and I think they'll be pretty surprised by that. I also don't think they have Daze because it would have been a good opportunity to Daze last turn. They've drawn 1 card since then. They're thinking really hard about whether to give me this Tamiyo token, which means to me that they do have a plow. So I think if they are going to plow, I might wait a turn. Or if they aren't going to plow, since I think they have a plow, I might wait a turn. The other alternative is I just deploy the Psychic Frog, and that'll probably draw the plow. I don't think they're going to have a board wipe. Yeah, I don't see any board wipes. I think I'm just going to go ahead and black. I'll definitely make it look like I still have Stifle up by keeping that up. Psychic Frog. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they instep plow that. Dress Down. Okay, that's unnecessary, but they are going to get a card. Actually, it shuts off Orcish Bowmasters, so they can get rid of their cantrips now. That's good. Brainstorm. Okay, so they're able to brainstorm around my Bowmasters. Again, like, none of this will be too consequential if we get a Phyrexian Dreadnought on the table. Yeah, I just didn't want to... I mean, call me cowardly, but I didn't want to jam a Phyrexian Dreadnought into a likely plow. They may have been thinking about whether to Dress Down, and they may not actually have a plow. It's fine. It's good that they're not casting Wasteland, because I do need my mana. I've got a lot of clues I can crack here. So Null Drifter comes in. That's unfortunate. They are going to get the double draw, and Bowmaster's not going to be able to punish that. And they have a Dreadnought. Okay, they've got a lot of stuff. Luckily, like these Null Drafter attacks, we can just use the clue. Okay, that dies. They should have... No, actually, they couldn't attack because they didn't have flying. Okay, this is really climactic game 3. I'm really excited here. All right. For starters, if we attack in the sky, we pitch a whole lot of stuff. That's not good. They can just attack with a Null Drifter. If we drop Dreadnought, maybe we drop Dreadnought here. They can't attack in a Dreadnought. Yeah, so I'm definitely dropping a Dreadnought. There's no doubt about that. The real question is, so if we attack with Tamiyo, Null Drifter will definitely take her out. I think we just have to let them attack. And they may have combat tricks. They may have another dress down. We do have a force. We have a Bowmasters. We won't get the initial ping off Bowmasters, but if they brainstorm or do something like that, like they're going to be in double pain. We also have lots of cards we can discard a Psychic Frog if necessary. I think I'm just going to chill and I'm going to see what they do. I feel like our board might actually be stronger than theirs, as crazy as that sounds, but the fact that they have six cards in their hand, now they've got 5 mana. They're not wasting me, which is good. If they attack with Null Drifter, I'm definitely going to crack back with Frog. They did say wow, so they didn't expect the Phyrexian Dreadnought there. Okay, so they are attacking with both of these. So our long game is much better than theirs. So I am inclined. I'm going to sack this Orc Army token instead of the clue because I may need it every draw I can get. Okay, I'll sack that. And then let's see, can we kill them? We can attack them for 12, 15, 16. I mean, that's lethal right there. No, wait, this isn't 15. Why I'm miscounting. 13, 14. They could have another Null Drifter in hand. I think we block here. Yeah, I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to trade 1 for 1. If I can find a Fatal Push later, that'll be fine. I would love for them to get upset and like plow. They're paying costs for something. Petty Theft. That is going to be a force. Definitely don't want to, because the trample damage will go through anyway. If they have a second force, we're really in trouble. They might brainstorm, in which case I'm going to put in Bowmasters in response. I don't think they have a daze. Okay, they are fetching. Another Petty Theft. Okay, this puts us very low. And then they can deploy it and they can kill us next turn. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Okay. We're at 2 and we can die to Doorkeeper Thrall. So we can redeploy the Phyrexian Dreadnought, but we're going to need to sack our Frog to kill their... So the real question is, do we want to deploy our Bowmaster here? I think we keep it in case we can remove Doorkeeper Thrall somehow. I don't see how we were going to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and just draw a card here. Force is not a bad card. All right, so let's think about this. We can't both force and... let's see. We deploy the Dreadnought. I think that's, without question, something we need to do here. But they can't deploy this until next turn cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out. We can go ahead and attack with Tamiyo. It's basically free to do. Alternatively, we could hold Tamiyo back to block Null Drifter instead of jumping Frog. Yeah, I think that's correct. We'll sack a clue. We can crack a clue. If they brainstorm or do anything that draws cards, we'll be in a pretty strong position. I don't think they're going to do that because they're not desperate. If they attack with Doorkeeper Thrall, I want to be able to block with both of these. If they have a Plow, if they have one of many different cards that they could have here, Prismatic Ending. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, because we're dead if we don't find a blue card for force. We did find a blue card for force. I'm going to attempt to force this. We're not in a good condition by any means. We are like in really bad condition, but we do need to be able to block that Dreadnought. They force back. Yeah, the game's over. They played well. They are the more experienced Dreadnought player. I do feel like the black version is favored here. But yeah, I mean, we saw what happened when they had the additional exile-based removal. I do think that the correct thing to do in this matchup, or any matchup where Prismatic Ending is likely coming in, is to just have plenty of things to replace Phyrexian Dreadnought with. It's just not going to get there, generally. I mean, you might luck into getting there, but I don't think it's common. So we're going to go into game 3, or match 3 against Lang Lewis. They were most recently seen on Stoneblade, but historically they've played a lot more Oops All spells. I am going to mulligan to a force just because of this history. It's got me kind of spooked. This was way back in 2012. This was not recent either, though. I don't think this is a good hand. We definitely want colored mana sources. We're playing such a low land count that these hands like this do happen, though. I think this is better. I'm going to put back one of the fatal pushes, and we're going to try to ponder into a land number 2. So we're on the draw. If they just have oops, we're done. It doesn't look like they're playing oops. It looks like they're playing some form of Death and Taxes. Mother of Runes, Dress Down is potentially really good against Death and Taxes type decks. All right, so option, we go get the swamp, we push Mother of Runes. I think that's totally defensible. I think that's what I'm going to do. This was a good top deck. They did mulligan like we did, so they're down to 4 cards. So we 1 for 1, and now we're technically up a card on them overall. We're not going to be able to daze here because, so if they play Stoneforge Mystic, that's really bad. Yep. Another card that would be really bad would be Ghost of the Labyrinth, Spirit of the Labyrinth. Yeah, this is the Stoneforge. I was afraid of this, but I didn't want to get wasted off of my soul lane. Like that probably was actually the better play, was just anticipating a Stoneforge, because it's going to be very hard for us to deal with Caldra over a longer period of time. If we get lucky and find a Brazen Borrower, that could do it. If we find another push, that could do it, and we could just get rid of this and buy ourselves some time. Tamiyo's not going to get us there. We can save some life. I think the answer is we're just going to go ahead and try to ponder and fight a fatal push. Brazen Borrower does it next turn. I think that's good enough. What I'm going to do here is I'll just I'll plan to Borrower next turn, and they're not playing Yorion. Wait, they are playing Yorion. Gosh, I should have freaking looked instead of just focusing on the thing. I always forget to look up here. Yeah, I think Brainstorm is pretty good. It pairs well with our Tamiyo. They are going to have a lot of attack pressure, but Tamiyo's debuff on opponent's creatures is very relevant here. So next turn, I think we land Borrower, and we just keep this up. So that means I'm going to go like this, I think. I mean, yeah, I don't think they're playing Thoughtseize. I don't think they're playing like 3 color. I might have to eat my words here. All right. Also, I'm going to try to play a little faster here because this could be a very long match. Well, we're going to take 5 immediately, basically. Karakas is very good against my Tamiyo. Yeah, but they tapped out of Karakas, which means I could, in theory, Tamiyo and flip her, but she would just die to this Phyrexian Germ. So we do need to get this out of play. The reason I note that Yorion is a problem is if they get up to Yorion levels of mana. First of all, we do have days and things like that. If they get up to that level of mana, they can potentially blink Caldra and get the Germ back. But equipping it is 7 mana, so it's going to be hard to re-equip without blinking it somehow. Vile, I don't think we stop it. I think we try to focus on stopping actual, threats from their deck. Like, I would definitely prefer to stop. Yeah, I think we just have to wait till they attack and then borrow. I don't think it's correct to do anything before then. We just want to minimize the amount of information they have. Okay, they've got a lot of mana. Let's see if they attack with Stoneforge. They may be careful. Okay, that's good. This is one of the advantages of holding up mana, is they didn't realize we were going to attack with Stoneforge. So we'll just do that. Next turn I can deploy a Tamiyo, and if they try to blink it, or if they try to bounce it, I can Brainstorm. But the problem is that's probably going to be during end step, and then they can attack it and remove its remaining loyalty. This is a really big problem here, this card. There's nothing I can do about it. So I think we probably just lost the game. This is where Dress Down could potentially be helpful, but we had to be proactive because we screwed up. So this is all cascading problems from the fact that we let Stoneforge resolve by not fetching an Underground Sea turn 1. So we played like a control player instead of a tempo player, and we're getting punished for it. I'm getting punished. I'm the person who made the mistake. I don't want you to think that I'm like somehow shirking the blame by using the royal we here. Okay, so options. First of all, they're like one turn away from getting Yorion and putting Yorion in the hand and casting Yorion. I think we probably want to keep days up for that reason. We could Tamiyo here, and then we could Flipper. Actually, that's not the worst. Okay, so I'm going to go get my other island. I'm going to play on basics here. But I'm going to have to do this because I need 2 blue sources because, again, I didn't fetch. So I'll Tamiyo here. I mean, it's quite possible that they have... This actually is good because we can hit like this Crocus probably. It doesn't help us immediately. Did we play a land this turn? Okay, so they got a Flicker Wisp. So they can flicker Tamiyo back to her original state, unfortunately. Yeah, I think I'm playing badly here. Sorry. Because I should have noted that they did in fact get that Flicker Wisp, and I didn't think about what they got off this. I was so like doom and gloom. Let's see. So we did not... Did we play a land? No, we haven't played a land. So we can play the Wasteland and cut them off Caracas. I do think that that's good use of a card. Because Caracas they could like flip Tamiyo back and then they could Caracas. I think I'm going to put back one of the Dress Downs. Psychic Frog's good next turn. It's not great, but it's good. I mean, there's definitely a possibility that they have. Yeah, so I'll do that. She's going to flip. This forces them to decide between... Actually, no, it doesn't really force anything. Yeah, actually, it's good because they're going to have to hardcast the Flicker Wisp unless they have another land. They've got 2 cards in hand. If one of them's a land, then yes, they're going to be able to just flicker Caldra and then they'll get the token back. We'll still have a turn with her in play. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to daze Flicker Wisp here. These can't attack for any damage because they're 0/1s effectively. They're probably surveilling here. The reason they're playing red is likely for Magus of the Moon, which not a big deal for me. All right. So they are, of course, upticking Vial. Nothing came out of it. So they have 3 cards in hand. If one of them's a land, I'm going to be so sad. Yep. That's probably the game. Because they can go blink the Caldra. They get it back. If they don't do that for some reason and they instead blink Tamiyo because they're scared of her, that is great. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Skyclave Apparition. Unfortunately, nothing I can do about it. I don't have Dress Down mana up. Yep. And that's that. With Tamiyo, this game is slipping away incredibly rapidly, and I'm tempted to just resign to save clock, but I think I would still let them play it out. This isn't going to do any damage. They just, yeah, they're realizing what. No, wait, okay, that's fine. Unnecessary. Yeah, I'll probably just make them use some clock just to catch up with them on clock, but I don't have high hopes here. I mean, Psychic Frog. If we Psychic Frog, we can't stop the Witherbloom, and I think we need to stop, or we need to Dress Down to stop the Flicker Wisp. Otherwise, they are going to get they are going to be able to get Calder back. So I'm going to use 1 blue. I'm going to ponder and just try to set up a better turn. Playing Psychic Frog out proactively, certainly something we can do. Okay, so there is a way we can get out of this. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. All right, I'm going to play to this unlikely scenario. Basically, what we want to do is we want to be able to Dress Down when they attempt to Flicker Wisp. But when they attempt to Flicker Wisp, if they try to do an EOT or something off the Vial, no, this okay. Well, we have double. So what I want to do is I am going to try to get a Dreadnought into play. I'm not confident it's going to do anything, but we have to Dress Down the Flicker Wisp. That's the only card in their hand, but they probably have more stuff on the way. And then the subsequent turn, we can Dress Down and we can play out the big guy. And at that point, they'll have to go get Yorion, but they don't necessarily have the mana to cast Yorion, so they'll have to wait 2 turns for this to tick up so they can put Yorion into play. Yeah, we're just going to take this crunch here. Oh, it's just 2? Okay. So they're afraid of Bowmasters, which will definitely be coming in game 2. This is a matchup where I am going to keep the Dreadnoughts in, by the way. What is this card? They have a 1 mana play, 2 mana play. They're thinking about playing out the Flicker Wisp. And then, oh, this is also a really dangerous card. They could go get back Mother Runes. The alternative, okay, so if I do this, they can still Flicker Wisp with this on the stack. They might screw it up. I'm going to try it. I'm okay with that coming in. I mean, there's not a lot I can do about it. Yeah, they should go ahead and Flicker the Cauldron here. So we will get a card, and then next turn we can dress down into... but they're going to have so much going on. They've got a life link blocker. They have the ability to go get Yorion later. We're not going to be in a good position by any means. Okay. So Caldra's back. Caldra exiles cards when it connects. We're going to be under so much pressure, it's not even funny. So I'm not sure what's under this, but if it is a land, that would be good. Tamiyo's not good here. I'm just going to play this out and I'll pass. And I think the attacking with Caldra, we can't block, but we can attack back. We can block one of the things they attack that doesn't have flying. But at this point, they should just tick up and go get Yorion here, and then next turn they can Yorion and win. Because they can exile our Phyrexian Dreadnought with Skyclave. If we draw a Stifle, we might be able to kill him, but we're dead in 2 attacks with this Caldra anyway. I think they're just going to attack Caldra. And Phyrexian Dreadnought doesn't even... so they're doing this. This is fine. I'm going to take 8. Okay, I'm at 3. We're going to have to draw... I'm trying to think of what we could draw here. Well, I'm going to see what we draw. I should have probably Tamiyo'd first, but... Okay, so we can Stifle. We don't have a Shuffle. We could Brainstorm again, and then if we... No, we can't Fatal Push this. It's indestructible. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. I'm going to put this back. You know, we're not going to be daising anything this game. I probably should have just put 2 days back. Okay, now I'm going to Brainstorm again, and we're going to try to find a Brazen Borrower. If we find Brazen Borrower, we can hit this, but then we don't have the ability to... yeah, I mean, I think we lost. I'm just going to see what I get off this. Yeah, I think we just... yeah, there's no point in attacking or anything. I'm just going to concede. I don't even think I'll be able to burn a lot of clock by passing it back because they can just attack for lethal real quick. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Obviously, Orcish Bowmasters is going to be really strong here. It's basically a guaranteed 2-for-1. I think removal is really good. I don't think Harbinger of the Sea is worth playing. I don't think Hydroblast is worth playing here. A Consign to Memory can stop triggers, but so can Stifle. I don't think there's any reason to play Consign to Memory over playing Stifle here. Cards that are bad. I think Force is probably bad. My reasoning being that we're going to potentially be able to restrict their mana. They are playing Fetchlands. So they're a Fetchland based Death and Taxes. The other card that I think is potentially bad, I mean, Daze is not great. It may be able to protect us. They're, since they are a Caracas deck, they probably have 3 or 4 Caracases in their deck. I don't think Tamiyo is good. Actually, I could just take out all my Tamiyos and keep some forces. I don't hate that. I think Tamiyo is terrible here. She does keep some of the attackers at bay, but spending a lot of resources on a card that's just going to be bounced back to your hand is feel bad for sure. All right, so I'm going to run it like this. All right, so we're round 3, game 2. Not a lot of time on our clock. A whole lot of thinking during the previous game. Unfortunately, we couldn't solve the puzzle. I think this is a good keep. We go get Island. We don't have Black Source for Bowmasters. Last game, we got screwed by going for Island instead of... what was it? I can't remember exactly what happened, but we got... we went for basic Swamp instead of getting Underground Sea. We're not going to make that mistake this turn. We're going to make a different mistake. which is going to get an island and pondering just for forward momentum. Because if we get the Stifle with days up, yeah, I do think we just keep this. We island ponder because they are playing a lot of wastelands. They're also playing a lot of non-basic lands. Okay, they're mulling to 6. Yeah, my plan is, I'll just try to articulate it. Basic island. Next turn, if we can find a land here, we'll be in a pretty good position to resolve a Bowmasters on their turn 1 threat. We don't have a lot of land in the deck, so it's quite possible that I have to even shuffle this. I do think we shuffle this. I don't think this is what we're looking for. This is very reactive. Okay, Brainstorm is better, and we'll pass. And next turn, we can potentially Brainstorm to find land number 2. Or we could just Daze, and then we could just replay it. If they play Mom, that's exactly what I was thinking. If we just happen to rip a black source or a way to get black, then this is totally solved. We've got Bowmasters. But I'm worried that we're not going to be able to do that. And Mom kind of invalidates a lot of our removal. I think we Daze this, especially considering that they played a basic, so we're not going to be able to waste them anyway. Yeah. You gotta respect the Mom. Okay, we did draw an island, but we wouldn't have been able to get a Bowmasters there. I think I'm just gonna pass. There's no reason to Brainstorm. I'll save it another turn. Okay, we don't have a Stifle, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would be able to punish this. They're gonna go get just another Plains. Okay, I think the red splash is extremely light. We don't have. Well, I am gonna Brainstorm here just in case I find a Daze. That would be really good. Whoa, Scoob. All right, so these are going back. We're going to have to redraw them. Yeah, I think this is just not our game. We're going to be able to go get our basic Swamp and Bowmasters, but we're going to get beaten to death by a Caldera. Outs in our deck include 2 Orcish Bowmasters and somehow racing them with Phyrexian Dreadnought, which, I mean, realistically is not going to happen. Yeah, I'm just going to play this out, and I will pass. And should we get a chance to Bowmaster, we'll Bowmaster. Otherwise, we're just going to hold the Bowmaster because Bowmaster is really best as removal. It's not going to be particularly impactful against Caldera. Caldera has trample. Yep. And now we're going to take a whole boatload of damage. Yeah, I mean, the reason why you play 18 lands instead of like 20, like a reasonable, responsible person, is because you don't want to Brainstorm into like 3 lands, you know? But sometimes that does happen even with extremely low land counts. So there's no reason to do this. End step, I'll just wait. And now I'm going to go get my Swamp. Okay, let's hope to draw something relevant. Like Stifle would be good. Dress Down actually isn't the worst. So I think I'm going to just Dress Down into Dreadnought and hope that we can beat them. I don't think we'll be able to race them, but I'm going to try. They may just hold back and not go for it. But they could have a Plow. They could have a lot of things. But I don't think we have the luxury of waiting around. We do get a card for this. So even if they Plow, it's not a 2-for-1 here. Okay. Oh, Stifle. Yeah, but there's no reason to wait around. Stifle may be live later. I am deathly afraid of them just, going and getting a removal spell for this. Whenever this creature deals damage to... Oh, that is a trigger that I think can be stifled. So we could potentially attack in, stifle that trigger. But they're attacking. Okay, so... I have no idea what's in their hand. They're going to have to attack 2 more times. We have to attack 2 times as well. Okay, so this Orcish Bowmaster, and to add insult to injury, we don't even have a basic left to get. We'll shuffle though. Yeah, there's nothing in here to get. We've got all our basics. I didn't even think about them bringing in Path. Otherwise, I could have gotten like something. It's not a big deal. Dress Down. Okay, so we could Dress Down into something good. I think it's worth it. And then I'll just go get an Underground Sea. Like something good being specifically Phyrexian Dreadnought. I think that's literally our only draw. That's our only out here. Psychic Frog doesn't help, but it is worth playing out. I'm going to go ahead and play it out. I mean, it's not impossible for us to draw a sequence of cards that could get us out of this. Brazen Borrower is still very much stops their plan A here with the Kaldra, but they have 3 more cards in hand. They have the ability to go get Yorion. They just had everything here. I mean, I'm glad they aimed that at that instead of my next Dreadnought. But yeah, 3 rounds, 3 players playing Swords to Plowshares and white base removal. If we get paired against like a red deck or something, we're going to be having a great time. But yeah, this is rough. So we're currently 1-2 because we're going to lose this one. I have no illusions that we're going to somehow claw back in against our weenie deck with 2 life. No way to gain life. I'm just going to see what I draw here. I mean, that gets back the mom. I'm just going to concede. Yeah, there's no hope for us here. All right, and let's jump over to round 4, which will hopefully not be against Swords to Plowshares deck. All right, we're back for round 4 against Catatonic Walrus. They do not have any MTGO history that I can find. We have the combo. Oh man, this is one of those situations where we're exposing ourselves to Stifle, but I do think it's worth to wait and see what our opponent's playing because we do have the combo. We don't have a way to find a second land. This is so we have 17 lands left. We'll have 16 after we fetch. In a 53 card deck, it could be several turns before we draw. I'm inclined to throw this back. It's just not safe enough. This is a much better hand. We don't have the combo, but we do have a Tamiyo who can come out early. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see what they're on because it would be really foolish for me to throw my 1 blue card away, only to discover that they're like a oops all spells or something. Okay, so they're not going to be oops all spells here. That's good news. But if they're playing this, they may also be playing Caracas. So I'll draw. Okay, another backup Tamiyo. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this for protection. The good news is we now have a blue card, so we can deploy Tamiyo. And I'm just going to play the basic as well because they may be playing back to basics. They could be playing Blood Moon. Most likely not Blood Moon, but maybe. Okay. I would love for them to panic and force this, but they're probably not playing force. They are probably playing Swords to Plowshares, though. I think if they plow, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to deploy the second Tamiyo. Prismatic Ending is unfortunate because that means this is the 4th white deck matchup. White is very underrepresented in the meta. We're just getting white matchups. But I'm not worried about... Okay, so Frog definitely has more upside here. If we play the Tamiyo out, we potentially bait the remaining removal if they have it. And then we clear the way for Psychic Frog, which is the higher upside card. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to take another turn and see if they want a 1-for-1 my Tamiyo. The great thing about Tamiyo that I think a lot of people don't appreciate is she's just a 1-mana creature. And when a 1-mana creature gets removed by a 1-mana spell, it's not the end of the world. All right, and now, hopefully they don't have any more removal. They certainly could. But hopefully we'll be able to resolve our Psychic Frog. At this point, though, there are lots of creature-based removal spells that they could have. Don't think there's a reason to deploy that. I don't suspect Daze. Certainly could have Daze. Okay, I'm going to deploy it, and I'm going to deploy the Frog. So we are naked to removal. We're just chilling and waiting for a Dress Down or a Stifle to arrive so we can hopefully Phyrexian Dreadnought. But our goal here is very much to overload their threats. They're on a white deck that looks like a Death and Taxes type deck, but they are not playing Yorion, which tells me they're probably on Jeskai. And it would make sense if they don't, like, Jeskai doesn't usually win a lot because it runs into combo decks and things like that. That's fine. We got a 2-for-1 there. What did they exile? They exiled another force. Okay. I like the old border looking force. I mean, the classic art force is still always going to be my favorite, regardless of how terrible a human being Teresa Nielsen reveals herself to be. Okay. Lorien. Yeah, that's fine. They're just building up mana. Yeah, this is not a fun matchup for me. I really don't like playing against this deck, and I don't like playing Jeskai. I played it a lot in the past. It's just kind of boring because, like, okay, I've got to answer. and they don't really do anything proactive. So we'll see whether that's what's going on here. We can't do anything, which is really bad news because we have to pressure the deck. They're just going to start, slamming Yorians and stuff pretty soon. Or not Yorians, but Lauren revealed and stuff. Yeah, that's fine. The good news is they still don't realize that we're on Phyrexian Dreadnought, so we might be able to surprise them. But, realistically, they're going to be playing... Teferi. They're going to be playing maybe as many as 4 prismatic endings. So I am 100% going to board these Phyrexian Dreadnoughts out here. I might actually force to defend this just because we had nothing going on. Yeah. Okay, they fetched. Stern Scolding. I hate to say it, but I think I am going to force here because I don't have anything else going on. I need to be proactive here. Yeah, this might be like the Straight Up Miracles list that we've been playing against a lot. They've still got 4 cards in hand, and they're about to hit the Magic 5 where they can start casting Lorien Revealed. We did pitch our Soul Daze. Counter target spell with power or toughness 2 or less. This also counters Bowmasters. Counters Frog, power or toughness. Okay, so it counters Tamiyo. I should have read it before I forced it just in case it didn't counter Tamiyo. Okay, so it looks like we might get an attack in here. Are they just going to plow it? Yeah, they're doing something here. Snapcaster Mage. So irritating. The deck they're playing will just get completely destroyed by most of the cards but it's very well lined up against our, it's very well lined up against our deck. And I say that because I have lots of friends that play this style of deck, and they go to a big paper tournament and they just go to time repeatedly. There's nothing we can do here. I hate to say this, but it might be correct to just board in the Brazen Borrower, or to put in the Brazen Borrower, so at least we have some clock. At the very least, it eats yet another removal spell. There's not anything worth bouncing in their deck, I don't think. You can bounce Planeswalkers, you can bounce Snapcaster. Oh, I should have done that during their turn. I got confused as to where I was. I thought it was during their turn. Yeah, that was a misplay. Brain Surge. Yeah, I'm just going to F6 and let them use up some clock, and I'll stop talking because the rest of this match is going to be very boring, but we've lost. All right, so they did indeed win 10 minutes later. They went down to 14 minutes on clock. They spent, they did Jace ultimately, and they kept doing it. I just F6 through my turn. So I'm up 4 minutes on them. I still don't feel that that's enough, but their deck is extremely slow. It looks like they just have maybe just one Fourth Aerolingus or Wincon other than Jace. So cards that are coming in here, Orcish Bowmasters, Hydroblast for their Pyroblasts, Force of Negation. Don't think there are any other cards that are good enough to bring in here. Cards I'm going to take out. Brazen Borrower is terrible against basically their permanentless deck. Phyrexian Dreadnought's bad. So we could bring in Harbinger of the Sea just as a potential beater, but it feels really bad. I think that what this comes down to is just we don't have enough spells that we can bring in that are good for these kinds of pure control matchups. So maybe we keep a couple of Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, but it feels so bad. They had at least one Mystic Sanctuary in there, and they did have at least one Snapcaster Mage. So now Spellbound's not completely dead, but it's just such a weak passive card. I think it's unlikely that we're able to Harbinger of the Seas to get any value at all, but they may not respect it and just not go for basic lands. The other option, we might keep a Murderous Cut in just in case they bring Tamiyo in, or not Tamiyo, Triumph of St. Catherine. Surgical might actually be better than we could keep a single Dreadnought in. I did show them Dreadnought. I intentionally discarded it so they'd see it. I think we bring in a Harbinger. I think it's extremely weak, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, so we're not completely dead to them getting Triumph here. Not that we would really be anyway, but yeah. Our goal is to resolve Orcish Spellmasters and punish their greedy card drawing deck. They've got Jaces, they've got Brain, what's called Brain Geyser, not Brain Geyser, Brain Surge. This has a Bowmaster. I think we keep this and we can just Tamiyo back to back and try to use up their removal with Tamiyo. And if they remove Tamiyo, they are playing Wrath of the Skies. They did play a Tune the Narrative. They didn't play the Wrath itself, but Wrath can get rid of our clue tokens. So that's something to be aware of. We can daze any play they have here, since we're not casting anything this turn. We're most likely not going to draw a land. That's fine. They're I don't know why they're fetching now when my land is untapped because I could stifle them. Oh, interesting. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a blast here. I'm going to go ahead and go straight to combat, and I'm going to hope to daze. Okay. We don't have anything else to do. We just have to chill. Yeah, this is like we have a great hand, but we don't have mana, but they're not going to mess with our mana. They've already kind of played into... We have so many extras. I'm thinking of letting this go. That might seem loose, but we can just play another one next turn. It does represent a clue we're not going to get, but these dazes might be relevant here. They might think that we boarded daze out on the draw, which is not a bad play usually. Okay, so I think we do go ahead and deploy a second Tamiyo here. I think they're probably going to play around Bowmasters, and I really want the Bowmasters to matter when it sticks. I would love for them to also use more blasts on this. If they blast here, I'm going to be very happy. Okay, now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go get my Underground Sea and I'm going to play Tamiyo number 3. Now, there's a risk, certainly, that they could have like a Blood Moon type effect, but we've got double days. I think we're probably safe from that until we draw our next land. So we've gotten through 2 blasts. I'm feeling good. The Tamiyo definitely did her job there. We could have punished this had we held back the Orcish Spellmasters, but they probably wouldn't be brainstorming if we held back the Orcish Spellmasters, unless they're completely reckless. They might be looking for land number 3. They did find land number 3, and they got a shuffle effect. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get another attack in with Tamiyo, it looks like. Dress Down does nothing here. Yet another card that I would love to be able to board out. If they... I think we keep it up. End step, we can always activate the clue. But if they have like a Snapcaster Mage for like a Pyroblast or something, Dress Down can slow that down. Terminus. We can't double daze our way out of this, unfortunately. Yeah, they are going to be able to get rid of... oh, yeah. Yeah, that sucks. But she definitely did her job. She absorbed a lot of stuff from them. Okay, this is out of the way. Got another land. I do want to snipe a... Okay, so here are our options. 1, we just draw a card with clue, and we keep the Bowmasters up. Because if they cast like a Brain Surge or something, that's going to be a really big deal in terms of us being able to stop something. I think this is the great play here. So we draw, we got a force, that's great. We can use that to protect our Bowmaster. Got a second force. Options are draw a card or just chill. I have a hard time believing that they would be so naive as to think that we didn't have anything going on when we're passing with 7 cards in hand, but who knows? Okay, the archive. So they can now, with any fetch, put Terminus back on top. The good news is, though, with these forces, I'm tempted to just draw here. I think we need to apply pressure. That's my instinct here. We've got double force. If they attempt a Brain Surge in response, okay, they didn't. Good. All right, this is off to a good start. They're going to need... cards that are really good for them potentially. No. Yeah, I think we're just going to pass. We're going to draw here. Psychic Frog is good, but I don't want them to get too much value off of wiping the board, and this is going to hold back their cantrips. It's also going to make Daze and some other cards, or Jace and some other cards not work very well. I think I just hold, and we see what they do here. I've got Dress Down if they Snapcaster. I've got double Force Up. I'm going to force this. I think we pitch it. I mean, they're not going to expect double Daze, but Borrower can actually attack in and win. I don't think we pitch. I think Daze is the card that we're willing to pitch. Snapcaster Mage is fine. I'm just going to Dress Down in response. If this gets a blast or some sort of action, we do have Daze in addition to having Force Up. Okay, so we get a card. Snapcaster resolves. Okay. I definitely could have just forced that as well. Okay, this is good. I think we can't really borrow this back to hand is the problem. I think what we do is we go ahead and attack with just the Orc Army. They're not going to trade. We get 1 damage at least. And then I think we deploy a Frog, and we hope that they are not able to deal with both Frog and Bowmasters through like a sweeper. We will force sweepers with extreme prejudice. Okay. And they didn't use this turn Scolding, which is probably like the scariest card they could have there, 1 mana, but we do have a Daze. If they attempt to hard cast a Terminus, we can Daze. They're going to have trouble setting up Terminus with a Brainstorm or Brain Surge. Okay, well, I'm just going to block. I'm not going to block. I'm going to let it go through. I don't want to discard any cards if they're going to attempt to sweep. Okay, well, that's a big win. Their Gambit did not pay off. They may have another one, which I will counter. All right, so I'm not going to get greedy and pump cards into Psychic Frog. I wasn't born yesterday. This is the other one. This is going to be the force pitching Daze. Days are over in terms of its usefulness to us. If they force this through, I'll be sad. Okay, they didn't. All right, so I'm going to start by just going to attack, and we're going to have lots of cards that we can potentially pitch in a bind. I don't think there's going to be a bind. I think we're just going to get through and draw a card. All right. Now, I think the card to play here is probably the basic, and we keep up Clue Activation. I'm not going to come in another Psychic Frog. I think that would be overreach. And then if they Supreme Verdict or if they Terminus or something, like all they need to do is fetch and then they can set up the Terminus. So we're definitely in dangerous territory here. Supreme Verdict. They're not Supreme Verdicting. They're attacking first. By all means, come on through. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, their deck is just so well set up to be able to beat decks like ours. If you can't get them in a squeeze very early, Wrath of the Skies. Okay, so I am going to activate this because that's going to die. Stifle doesn't stop anything relevant here because this is just a spell. There's no effect. If they destroy everything, yep. I think we just deploy another Psychic Frog and hope that they don't have a way to like just go get it back. There's no point in playing out lands at this point, I don't think. The only argument I could see for playing out lands would be that we could, potentially hardcast a Borrower this turn. Maybe that's argument enough. This can get lands out of our deck. I think it's better to have that in play. Yeah. So I'll reserve the right to drop a Borrower if they've just plow this or something because we don't have any counterplay. If they do that, they draw their third blast. Yep. Jace, the Mind Sculptor. Yep, that's a good card. We do have counterplay. If they attempt to, they probably have a plow. Oh, well, I can just stifle that trigger. Then I can attack and kill Jace. They may have a plow still, though. I'll be very sad if they have a plow. I'm definitely going to pitch this Underground Sea. There's no reason for me to fetch. I mean, the reason is to get a land out of the deck because I don't want to be drawing lands at this point. I think bouncing Jace back to hand is not what we want to do. We want to actually attack it and kill him. So I'm just going to keep this land uncracked. And if I draw a land here, I'll be punished, but fetching the thin is not my style. Okay, So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attack Jace. And I'm going to discard this land. We have Force Negation, which does stop a lot of the things they can do. It doesn't stop everything. So Jace should die. We should get a card because they, in their wisdom, templated Frog to where you draw. Okay, so this cuts them off red. It does subject us to additional risk. We can't both Harbinger and Force Negation. I think the most important thing is just keeping Frog alive, so I'm not going to cast the Harbinger. I'll cast it as a desperation play if they remove all art. But they have access to 2 out of 3 of their colors. Because they're going to reveal this. I'm going to attempt to negate it. They can hardcast Force here. Fluster. They get 2 copies, unfortunately. Yeah, we can't stop it. It sucks. There's no reason for us to pay with 3 copies on the stack. If I had not expected this, there would be, you know, I would if I had pitch casted, but I don't think you pitch cast here. I don't think you expect Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm is not a widely played card. It's not a very good card. In my opinion, I don't think it's a legacy card. I think it might be a card that you could play in other formats, but not legacy, in my opinion. Okay, so shuffle this. I don't think getting that dress down is worth it. This is a very good card. I'm going to wait and see what they do, but we have the ability to deploy both a Brazen Borrower and an Orcish Bowmasters. I think that is better than deploying Harbinger here. Harbinger, again, is like how we limp across the finish line. I'm going to go ahead and deploy this, and if they cantrip, that's fine, but I need to apply pressure, and I need to do damage. Okay, and now, if they draw cantrips, we're going to be able to beat them. They could just have removal. They could have, a Snapcaster or something here. What I'll do, if they have Snapcasters, I'll probably Stifle. Okay, they don't have Snapcaster here. I'm going to play out Harbinger of the Seas. This shuts off if they draw a fetch land. This shuts off their ability to go get Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. We're getting some lag. Are they conceding? No. Okay, so that doesn't do anything here. So that was a very lucky thing that we had the thing out and they can't get the trigger. All right. I'm going to keep this in hand, and I'm just going to attack and hope that we can get across the finish line. Again, we've got we have to do 2 uncontested attacks here. They've got 2 cards in hand. I'm going to hold up Brazen Borrower. If they Wrath, I'll flash in Borrower, End Step, and hope to finish with that. Oh, we did cut them off double white, which does stop them from wrathing, a Wrath of the Skies. They may not be playing Supreme Verdict. They may be just playing Wrath of the Skies. All right, so sideboarding. I kept my Dazes in, which may be ill-advised because we're on the draw again, but I do think it's better than the Phyrexian Dreadnought plan. I just have zero faith in the Phyrexian Dreadnought plan. You know what? They've seen a lot of Dazes. Maybe we do keep these in and we just take out our Dazes. The thing I'm thinking about Daze is they're probably going to play around it anyway, and we just want to kill them dead. I cut the cut because I wanted to have a second Harbinger of the Seas after seeing how effective it was. But we could take out one of the Seas and bring in the Daze. We might even take out both of them because they've already seen it and they might play around it anyway. It's unlikely to matter. It dies to Plow, dies to Red Blast, dies to a lot of stuff. I think we take a chance on Dreadnought. Yeah, but the Bowmaster was good. But the real MVP of that game was Tamiyo. Tamiyo was so strong. And the reason why Tamiyo was so strong was because she paved the way for Frog. She paved the way for Bowmasters by absorbing all the removal. This hand is good. It's a Tamiyo hand. We've got Force. We've got Dress Down. We have a Wasteland. It probably won't matter. But, yeah. So I think I open Tamiyo here. I could protect Tamiyo and ultimate her, but the thing about Tamiyo is she does die at a Prismatic Ending, which they're probably playing at least 3 of. Oh, I forgot to deploy her. Yeah, that was a misplay. For some reason, I just clicked through. I was so busy focused on what I was talking about that I didn't actually deploy the Tamiyo. I need to tighten up. All right. The upshot, though, is if we do find a land here, we can deploy her with Brainstorm Protection. Yeah, we did. All right, so I'm just going to play her out. And we're going to hope that they don't try to kill her. That's fine. They may be looking for a Red Blast, which, considering I don't have Daisies in my deck, is going to be powerful. But I don't think we... Yeah, if they blast her on the stack, we probably let that happen. Because, yeah, they may not be expecting a Brainstorm to flip her, but that is a way she can survive exile-based removal. They may be getting white here, a Tundra. That tells me they have exile-based removal in their hand, most likely. They're getting another... Okay, so currently they're not presenting the ability to use Red Blast. What is this? Wrath for 1? They do have the energy. Okay, so this destroys artifact, creature, and enchantment. I'm going to just go ahead and get my... I will get a basic island. I'm never going to need an additional black, and I just don't want to get caught with Bloodwind or something. We're just going to Brainstorm. Just an innocent little Brainstorm. That's fine. They have lots of energy for the Wraths. I'm going to put back... I don't think I put back the... Well, I'm not on the days plan, so maybe Wasteland does make sense to put back. Wait, I kept some number of days. How many days did I keep? Let me take a look at my sideboard. I have time. I got 8 minutes. View sideboard. Oh, yeah, I kept 2 days. Okay, so this Wasteland does kind of play. All right, I'm going to put back... Maybe I want these all. Okay, I'm going to put back... I might regret putting back a force here because I might need to defend Tamiyo to the end. Okay, I'm going to put back... sorry, I'm being so indecisive. I'll put this back and I'll put this back. And then I'll just plan to draw through. So she's going to flip. The Wrath destroys nothing. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just tick her up. I think it's fine to get rid of the Tundra just to restrict their options a little bit. And then I do think I'm going to go ahead and ponder here just to... I mean, I know what my top card is, so it's not like a super tight play. Yeah, I'll see what these are. If I find a Dreadnought, that might be worth keeping. I don't really care that much for these. I'm going to just shuffle. If I find a Dreadnought, I find it... Okay, well, I'm not punished. Yeah, I'll just pass. Now we're on the defend Tamiyo plan. Anything they try to throw at Tamiyo, we just have to get rid of it. The Wrath of the Skies doesn't do anything. Their plows. This, if they prismatic end, I'll just force. That's fine. Yeah, they're really looking for prismatic ending and a second Wrath of the Skies potentially. Well, no, Wrath won't do it. Prismatic ending or bust here. Okay, they're passing. All right. Tamiyo is alive and well. We're going to play this out. I'll plus her. I don't think we move. Dress Down is good. If they get out like a Snapcaster or something, we can potentially stop it. They're not playing any sort of stifle type effect. This is an activated ability, so it doesn't get stopped by... they may be going to get a... yeah, they're probably going to go get a Volcanic Island to like try to Red Blast us. Yeah, so we do want to get rid of that eventually. But we are going to need a burn of force. So I'm going to definitely be pitching Dress Down to this force here. Interesting that they did that before playing out the Volcanic Island. But yeah, I am going to defend her. If they have a Flusterstorm, that would be bad. That's fine. I'm surprised they didn't play out the Volcanic Island that they got there first just to have more mana and have the ability to Pyroblast if I responded. I think that was probably a misplay on their part, but I don't know what they're doing over there. Okay, so we did stop the Prismatic Ending. That's one of a few cards in their deck that can stop us. They crossed under 5 minutes. Their deck is extremely slow to win. All right, I don't believe... We don't know what our top cards are because we shuffled our Ponder. So I'm just going to go ahead and tick up here. One reason they didn't play out the Volk maybe is because they know that it's a possibility that we have a Wasteland. I think I am going to play out the Wasteland. Oh no. I think it's better to hold Wasteland as a card we can brainstorm back. They don't currently have any targets for Wasteland. Yeah, I'm just going to make kind of the disciplined play here. Because if we brainstorm into a force or a force negation or something, we can potentially protect her with that. But the game all hinges on stopping this. So I think I'm just going to start by forcing here, and I'll see what they do. They can Snapcaster. We can Daze. Flusterstorm. Okay, so I'm just going to pay 3 mana here. I'm going to fetch. And yeah, if they use 3 cards to take her out, they'll have used 3 cards to take her out. There's not a lot I can do there. I'm just going to get a swamp here. Yes. 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 We won. We did it. We outground the grindiest of decks. And it's worth saying that, like, even had they removed this, we still had some gas. We were going to get rid of their that Volk. They probably had a basic mountain in there somewhere. They might even play a second Volk. But yeah, like other observations, the fact that we had the Brainstorm as a backup, we had plenty of cards we were drawing to, like Bowmasters and stuff like that. Drawing half of our deck would have definitely been GG. I think the biggest threat there is that somehow in those other cards they had another like prismatic ending. But yeah, like getting on the Tamiyo plan, Tamiyo was very good here. All right, let's go to game 5 or match 5 and see if we can salvage a positive record. And please, please don't make us play against another Swords of Plowshares Prismatic Ending deck. All right, we're back for the final round, and we are up against likely Gruul Initiative, an initiative deck. Oh no. This deck is still around. It's got a lot of explosive mana. This player has been playing this pretty consistently for quite a while, including 2 trophies in a single day. Very jealous. But when you play a deck that is this fast and this explosive, you can potentially play, I don't know, 3-4 leagues in a day, maybe. I don't know. But they have Minsk and Boo, which we should look out for once upon a time. Notably, they don't have a good way to handle a resolved... in fact, I don't see anything to handle a resolved Phyrexian Dreadnought. And even in the sideboard, they don't really have anything. Force of Vigor. Yeah, we could definitely look out for Force of Vigor. I'm feeling pretty good about this matchup. I think this is good. They don't have anything to stop. Like, we may go all in on a Frog. That might be the right call. Fury is kind of scary, but they're not playing Chalice. They don't have Chalice in their sideboard or anything. They're just playing Vexing Bulb, which doesn't affect us that much. All right, so we're on the play too, which is great. Good luck, have fun. So this is half the combo. Let's see how many. They're not playing any stifleable mana sources. Well, they play 2 Wooded Foothills. Is that it? Yeah, that's pretty bad. We have Force for their first threat. We have Fatal Push to remove stuff. We've got Wasteland for their pretty janky mana base. So they've got 2 basics or 3 basics in the deck, but they don't really have ways to get them. Cavernous Souls. There's a good chance that they invest a lot of resources on their first threat and we just force it. Borrowing Mox's back to hand is also viable. I think we keep this. Yeah. I'm going to keep, and I'm going to hope that we are able to stifle something meaningful. Otherwise, we're just going to send Stifle. Because they play for Magus of the Moon, I am going to go and fetch an island. So I'll keep the ability to fetch island up. Are they playing? They're not playing any blasts. Interesting. Okay. So this is 2 mana, Simian Spirit Guide, Fable. I think this is a 2 for 2 technically. Yeah, I'm going to hit it. And I'll pitch this. So we're not doing a lot, but we are going to be able to waste this. They didn't mull. Yeah, because this fixes their mana. It fixes their hand. It does a lot. I'm just going to draw. I don't want to draw a land, but let's see what we get. Not a land. A land. That sucks. Okay, so I think we just waste them off of this. as sad as it is, because if they have an Ancient Tomb or something, like we did nothing, but I'm going to hope that they don't, like, they need 4 mana to win. Basically, they have a few things that do 3 mana, but almost everything in their deck is 4 mana. I'd love to see them drop a Mox or something. Okay, Mountain, that's fine. I'm going to be so sad, but I'm going to be disciplined. I'm not going to fetch, because if I get a Brainstorm, I want to put this back. All right, that would definitely have been good. It would have paired very well with our Stifle that we threw away, but we didn't know we were going to draw that. I think it's fine. I'm just going to hope that we can hardcast this Borrower and get some damage in, but every turn that they get to like just chill is a turn that like we're in danger. Okay, here we go. Broadside Bombardiers. That's fine. I'm going to let it resolve. I'm going to go ahead and take care of it now. I'm going to go get my Underground Sea, and I'm going to push it. And this does cut off if they are able to get, what's it called later? They're able to get Magus of the Moon up. We don't have a swamp. Well, we wouldn't have been able to get a swamp with that anyway. All right, day's pretty terrible here. I'm going to play this out, and what we're going to do is we're going to hope to, I don't think it makes sense to hardcast Borrower. Yeah, because I think we really just want to resolve a Dreadnought, and we want to stop them from being able to do stuff. Like, this is something we can potentially borrow back to hand and get some tempo here. They are going to be able to attempt to cast something, but they don't have... Okay, they're passing through combat. Okay, interesting. Well, I am going to go ahead and just borrow this back. That's fine. So they're Once Upon a Timing. Let's see. They reveal Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Well, luckily, as long as they don't have Cavern of Souls, we will be able to daze that next turn. They are going to need to pitch another card to get it into play. This is pretty sad. I'm not going to play it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plan to get an island. I'm going to daze Caves of Chaos, and I'm going to hope to hardcast my Borrower. The reason... I'm trying to think if there's any merit to playing it out, because we are going to bounce this back to our hand when we daze. Yeah, I'll play it out. I'm maybe overthinking every little decision. Okay, so they do have Cavern of Souls, which is terrifying. They are going to get the initiative, and there's nothing we can do to stop it, but we can take it away from them next turn. Okay, lots of triggers. Caverns, definitely my least favorite Magic card, other than maybe Tabernacle. I think Cavern is the most broken card in terms of it's just like it enables lots of things that like it's like Wizards didn't want control players to be able to stop things anymore for some reason. But it is an old enough card that it's unlikely to ever get banned, and I'm not suggesting it be banned. I just wish they hadn't printed it. All right, let's go ahead and attack in here. Ponder's good. We get a free shuffle with Ponder, so maybe we do Ponder before we attack. These are not good cards. Any order, let's see what we get. Psychic Frog is quite good. I'm going to attack. I'll take the initiative. I'm going to go get I'll go get a swamp here. I'm going to play it out. Did I need to play it out? I might have wanted to keep it as frog food. Did we mistap there? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm going to play out Psychic Frog here. We can always pitch Dreadnought if we don't find something to go with it. But I think what we're going to need to do is race them. Now they are going to be dealing a lot of damage here. So let's see what their top card is. Daze is still potentially live. They are low on spells. So they get to put that in hand. They don't get a plus trigger on that. This has trample. Had we held that, yeah, we would have been able to trade, but it wouldn't have been good. I don't think that's where we want to be. They're going to get this back. I don't think they have a way to kill all our stuff. They might be able to Fury. Fury would be bad. Ancient Tomb. Do they have another one? They do. So now they get to go into Trap. We take 5 immediately. There's nothing we can do. I'm trying to think of, like, getting a Phyrexian Dreadnought in play would still be a game-winning thing. Yeah. I think it was a mistake to play with that land. Another Psychic Frog. So what we could do is we could fly and we could put the extra counters on this Psychic Frog. I think that's good because we're doing damage. And then let's think about the amount of damage they're going to be doing next turn. So one of these is going to be attacking for 7. We need to kill it. We need to absorb at least some of that damage. So the option would be, okay, the second frog becomes a 3/4, and then we dump 2 more into it. It becomes a 4/4, 5/4, 6/4 potentially. But we have to block this, and we might as well trade with it when we're blocking. I don't think we can get Psychic Frog big enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to give it flight. There's no question about that. I'll just go 1, 2, 3. We don't have any land recursion. We do have potential sorcery and instant recursion. Now I'm going to attack. There's no reason to attack with the Psychic Frog other than to draw a card, but I think drawing a card is good because of the potential of getting a Phyrexian Dreadnought here. Yeah. I mean, the best draw is definitely... I'm not going to pitch cards here. I think that would be a mistake. Best draw is Dress Down. I can't forge. Oh, wait. I'll just Lost Well. This will increase the likelihood that we find the Dress Down. Stifle does it. Actually, both of these are good. I'm going to put this on bottom. I'm going to put this on top. I'll draw it. Okay, and now I'm just going to play it. And then I'm going to stifle the trigger. And then I'm going to play another one. And I think we'll be able to survive now. Because we can potentially... No, we can't stop them from getting the initiative back. But if they attack in, they're like totally dead. And we can survive. Hanging back, they're not going to be able to stop all this. Let's see what they flip. They can flip some cards. City of Traders. Okay, so that goes into their hand. What's the other card they get? Ancient Tomb. Oh, wow, they didn't get any plus. Okay, wow, they conceded. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you're in a non-white matchup, suddenly these Phyrexian Dreadnoughts become very powerful. Like, it's a very powerful way to bully aggro decks. All right, let's see what we can do game 2. So, Orcish Bowmaster is actually surprisingly good because it can take the initiative. I don't think that's where we want to be. Harbinger of the Seas completely locks them out of a lot of their mana. Hydroblast. Cards that are bad against them. I think Daze is really bad on the draw. I mean, we saw how bad it was there because they've got like Caves of Chaos Adventurer and stuff. You could even argue that Force is pretty weak and that we should take out Force and we should put in Bowmasters. My pick, though, for the weakest card in this matchup is Tamiyo because you can't do damage. So I think we take out these Tamiyos and we replace them with Bowmasters. And let's counter our blue cards. So we got 3, 7, 8, 9, 17 at plus 12. We got 29 blue cards. I think we're fine on blue cards. There's no way I counted that right. I guess I did. Okay, let's go. Consign to Memory can stop some triggers. I still don't think Consign to Memory is right. Yeah. All right. Took game 1 against Initiative, which feels very good, especially considering how passive our hand was. This hand is too passive. It doesn't. We're on the draw. We need a Force, or we need the combo, in my opinion. And I would like to have a second land. I don't want to spend the first few turns trying to find a land. This has the combo. It has Wasteland to attack their janky mana base. This has if they turn 1 out. So I'm going to put Underground Sea. No, wait. Yeah, I think we put Wasteland back. Yeah, I'm going to put Wasteland back. We have plenty of lands. We might draw another Wasteland, but I want to be proactive, not reactive here. I think if we island into Phyrexian Dreadnought turn 2, I don't think they're likely to be able to beat that. They might have like Force of Vigor, which would stop it, but that's a 2 for 2 as well. Okay, they're passing. That's great for us. Now I'm kind of regretting not keeping the Wasteland. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play out the island here, and then we can see what they do. It's possible. I don't want to spend the Stifle on stopping anything they're doing, but it's possible I could like brainstorm into a force if I really need it, if they don't have caverns. Okay, they do have caverns. Okay, this is Magus. That's fine. We could brainstorm to just keep up momentum since we're going to be spending our next turn putting Stifle into play. We're not going to be able to shuffle any of the cards we get away. We're never going to be able to cast the Psychic Frog unless our top 3 happen to have... Oh, what do we do? I mean, we'll see more cards and we'll potentially put back stuff. I think the discipline thing is to wait on the brainstorm. Yeah, I'm going to be a patient person. The good news is their mana base is now jank. They got 2 red mana sources essentially. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and Dreadnought, and then I'm going to Stifle. All right, do you have Force of Negation? If you do, we'll keep playing, and I still have outs, or a Force of Vigor. But if you don't have Force of Vigor, I'm going to... Okay, I won. That was it. Phyrexian Dreadnought finally did the thing. I'm so sorry that we had to board it out so many games because it just... Maybe it's not correct to board it out, but it felt really bad, going, down a card essentially with a Stifle just to put something in play that gets Prismatic Ending, or Path to Exiled. We saw that too. So I love this deck. I think it's really strong. I don't have any changes that I would make to it other than to redo probably the sideboard. So in case we come up against white decks, we do want to be able to do like a full sideboard juke here. And we want to be able to take out the Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. We also want to be able to take out the Fatal Push. Like, it's not normal to run into this many creatureless decks, but we seem to like have like creatureless deck magnets on our shoes. But basically, I think we need more cards that we can board in that situation. So options, of course, would be a second Force Negation. I actually don't think that's terrible. I don't think we should ever play a second Force Negation in the sense that like it would be rare that it would be good, but it would actually be really good against these kind of blue-white Planeswalker decks. It can potentially protect Tamiyo. Tamiyo was an all-star the entire series. Obviously, we boarded her out against Initiative, but we have plenty of stuff to board in. Having 4 Bowmasters in the sideboard is absolutely critical. I would not go into battle without 4 of these in the sideboard because they're just so good against Brainstorm decks. And they're also good against just like going wide strategy. And this is actually surprisingly good against Initiative. So the only sideboard substitution I would make, like if they do ban Grief, I think there's going to be like a lot less, graveyard stuff. We might be able to go down to 1 spell bomb. Murderous Cut, I think, is totally viable here. It's nice to have a 5th removal spell that only costs 1 mana to board in, and we're not using our graveyard for anything other than Psychic Frog. No sane person is going to like board like Graveyard Hate in against us. So I think this is a great card to keep. I'm not sure. We cut Harbinger was good. We did get it into play one game, and it won us the game basically by preventing our opponent from being able to Mystic Sanctuary the Terminus back to the top of the deck or something else. We saw lots of incidental Dress Down being good, stopping different triggers. The Death and Taxes match was really rough, and I think if we had a little bit more, if we'd been on the play there, we could have dressed down the Stoneforge. I probably should have just forced the Stoneforge. I think that was a situation where I can't remember if I had a force. I'll rewatch that, but there was something where I was regretting a play I made around letting them get a Stoneforge out. But yeah, Dress Down is really good against Death and Taxes, among many other decks. So I'm glad. That's one of the strengths of the deck is like, yeah, you're playing for Stifle, which is air quotes a bad card, but Dress Down, it has good matchups where it's just like any sort of Urza Saga matchup. So I feel like where Phyrexian Dreadnought is the absolute strongest is against tempo decks. I think like Delver has a hard time dealing with it. They have a couple Brazen Borrowers. But it's such low mana investment that like it does get under days a lot of times, and it can come out turn 2 like it did against the Initiative deck there at the end. Yeah, I loved having all 4 Tamiyo. There were lots of games where we drew all 3, like 3 or even 4. And I was just like, oh, please, can we stop drawing Tamiyo? But the thing about her is your opponent is pretty much forced to deal with her. And I'll be completely candid. Like, I don't like to speculate about bans. I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, Wizards of the Coast is identifying that Tamiyo is a problem just because, like, there's no reason not to play 4 of them in your blue deck. I really can't think of a good reason. It's just like the upside is so high. She does so much for 1 mana. And you just have to respect her in a way that, like, what other 1-drops you have to respect that to that degree? Okay, let's make a list. So, Elvish Reclaimer, I respect that. I always force that on site, or if I don't have a plow, and I always plow it or push it. I mean, that's like really the list. Maybe Mother of Runes, but there are lots of ways to like potentially clear the board. I mean, it is possible that what this deck needs is like a board wipe, but I don't think that's correct. But there is a card called like Toxic Deluge that I've seen some people playing. We're more of a control deck than a tempo deck. And I don't know about the blue-white deck. Like, I'm not convinced that Phyrexian Dreadnought with white is good because you're plowing, you're giving people all this life, and you're also like playing kind of slow, but it's like a stifle deck. You know, it's like, it's rare that deck like completely locks people out. But this deck can apply so much pressure through Psychic Frog and Tamiyo that like there's an abundance, a preponderance of threats that they have to tackle. And that's when you sneak in the Phyrexian Dreadnought or the Psychic Frog after they've already plowed your Tamiyo, like 2 different Tamiyos, right? If anything, I think this deck, like, I don't think this fits in the main deck. The main deck is really tight. I love the main deck. The main thing is just figuring out what we can get into the sideboard so that we can have kind of a transformational sideboard against pure blue-white control decks and still be able to beat them. And you might argue, oh, there's such a small portion of the meta, you don't really need to think about them. But I encounter those kinds of decks all the time in paper. I actually lost to a blue-white basic deck that was also playing. Like last night, I go to my nightlies at Boardwalk Games. There's a video of this that should be live on YouTube by the time you're watching this, and you can watch in paper just how hard my bug Tamiyo deck crumpled to this mono basics up the beanstalk deck that was just like really not doing anything early game, but just had a ton of removal. They had Terminus, they had I think they've had like 3 to 4 prismatic endings. They weren't even playing like Leyline Binding, so you can't even stifle, right? You Leyline Binding, you can stifle the trigger, so it's a little bit weaker against our deck, or against stifle decks in general. But like it was incredibly difficult to really do anything against them, in my opinion. I just felt completely behind the 8 ball the entire match. And so you can watch it and you can see how hopeless my situation was. And I played aggressively. I wasn't trying to, I didn't lose for lack of pushing. Once I realized they were on Beanstalk, I didn't know what they were playing going into it. But once I realized what they were on, I just like threw everything at them. And again, to be clear, that I wasn't playing this deck. I was playing this deck, which is like the deck I've been playing lately. I think this is the strongest deck in the format. Is it not this? Which one is it? Bug Frog's Tricks, maybe? I think this is the best. Like, if I were going to a serious tournament, I would be playing this. And I'm not sure that I would be playing all 3 Baleful Strix, but I would definitely consider it. And you can watch lots of videos of me playing this. I don't think Leovold's good enough. Leovold, even in this matchup against them, it was just like, okay, great. I spent 3 mana on a card that you're going to pay 1 mana to plow. Like, I might as well have played Baleful Strix and at least save myself a mana, right? And I can't wait to get these ground seals out and get better cards. The ban announcement's coming in a few days. I do want to get a 3rd Consign to Memory in here. So, like, I know we're not even talking about this deck, but real quick, I'm just going to be like, I'm going to add a Consign to Memory. I think Consign to Memory is like way better than Leovold number. And there's not really a good card to punish these matchups. I think what you have to do is you just have to be aggressive. But, I mean, I won against Doomsday decisively, against Depths, against this black-white, really cool Ephemerate deck. I won like every single matchup except for the finals last night. It wasn't really like round 3 of the 3-round thing. I lost to this deck. And again, it was very similar to like the Miracles decks, but it was splashing green for up the Beanstalk. I'm not sure how to attack those pure control decks. Like the bigger control deck almost always wins. The deck that has, sweepers and things like that will almost always prevail over a deck like this, in my opinion. There is like the blue-black Beanstalk deck. So Pokemoki has his list and he has his sideboard guide. And so maybe I'll try to play Pokemoki's list. I kind of disagree with some of his decisions, but, that's totally natural. He has good reasons for arriving at the specific mix of cards. Here, let's take a look at his list. I can't actually pull it up. Yeah, I'll pull it up. All right. So here is Pokemoki's list. He just posted it a few days ago. He has a sideboard guide. He's got the deck list. Here's the list. Pokemoki, of course, being the person who basically pioneered bug beans. And we can see here, it's kind of small. Is there a way to make this copy image address? Okay. No, it's not going to get any bigger. He just didn't take a very big screenshot. It's not very high resolution. But you can see he's playing 2 Wasteland main, one side. He's playing 1 Pernicious Deed, 1 Witherbloom command. I think 2 Witherbloom commands is like totally obvious right now. Like I think it's a mistake to not play 2. And then he delves into having a single Uro and Barrogoyf. Barrogoyf might be worth playing, but Uro really stretches your mana base in directions you don't want to go if you're trying to play a more like low to the ground Murktide type deck. And yeah, he's playing the Bayou. So he's playing only 19 lands. I think he should be playing 20. I think this Wasteland should probably come in. Again, like he's played this. He has tested it a whole lot. But I think Spell Pierce is an all-time netter in terms of like applicability. I don't think Spell Pierce is a particularly good card right now just because almost all the good threats in the format, if you're playing against a tempo deck, Spell Pierce just isn't that strong when you could be, dazing or, this could be a removal spell. And if you look, Pokemoki's playing only, 7 removal spells. Only 7. That's still pretty good. I'm not sure. I think you could play an extra Strix. I think 1 Strix is too few. He did say that he wasn't sure how many Strixes should be played, but the one thing that I will happily disagree with him on is you should play 2 Witherbloom. Witherbloom is insane. It's so good at removing opposing Bowmasters, which is basically GG if you're playing a Beanstalk deck. It's so good at just removing opposing Beanstalks in case you're in a Beanstalk mirror. And it's just great value, recurring your Wasteland potentially to take out one of your opponent's lands and, potentially being able to drain life, being able to deal with Vexing Bobble. I think Witherbloom command has never been better. And I say that with confidence. I'm playing 2 of them in every deck I can play 2 of them in. Basically every deck with black and green, I'm playing 2 Witherbloom command. And I think it's way better than Loam. And you've seen me lose to Loam on this channel, and I've been like, oh, Loam, even though I just lost to it, I think it's the wrong card. But yeah, Witherbloom command. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. Really, really excited to play this some more. But let's go back to the list one last time, take a quick look at it. So this is blue-black StifleNought. I might play some more. If you all want me to play some more leagues with this, I absolutely will. I'm not a pure tempo player. I'm much more of a control player. This is kind of control, but it's more leaning toward tempo, in my opinion. But man, was it fun to get that stifled Phyrexian Dreadnought into play, knowing that they had 4 outs in their entire list, and they probably didn't even bring them in. I don't know that it made sense to bring in Force of Vigor for the only artifact in my deck is Phyrexian Dreadnought. But yeah, that felt so good to just completely destroy initiative. Because I've been beaten by initiative so many times as a control player, and to have a oops, I win type effect just felt amazing. Till next time, be excellent to each other. Party on.